Welcome to tonight's episode of Under the Bleachers. We have breaking news. James Franklin is out at Penn State, and Penn State already beginning a tedious, hectic coaching search for their next head coach. Some of the favorites include Matt Rule. Matt Rule is one of the favorites for the coaching job. There's Marcus Freeman's another one. I think it'd be funny if they got Belichick, but I almost feel like that would be a downgrade in a sense. And I love what Belichick did for the Patriots, helping us win 6 Super Bowls, but I don't think he has it anymore. But outside of the James Franklin firing, what do you think was the biggest news in college football?
Oh, all right. Let's see, man. Well, just the upsets that there were, and top 25 games, but nothing that really stood out so much, as seeing James Franklin get canned. Did you think that would happen at all?
Not really, but I also figured if it happened, it would happen at the end of the year. It wouldn't happen now, but apparently Adidas or Nike wanted, I think Adidas is a big sponsor of Penn State, and they wanted Franklin out, and they were willing to pay the buyout. That's kind of what led to the firing from what I heard.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, it's surprising, thinking just how stable of a situation that has seemed, the last few years there, and compete with the best teams, and then all of a sudden, like I said, it's not the only thing because Belichick's on that. You bring up his name, and he's being torn to shreds on social media, man. Yeah. So, it's Indiana's obviously for real.
They beat Oregon. I still want to see Mendoza for 300 yards in one game. Doesn't have to be every game, but give me one game with 300 yards and I'll move you in the first round because you've passed every other part of the tape, every other part of the eye test. Just give me one game with 300 yards and you're in round one. That's really all Mendoza has to do at this point. I'm not asking you to throw for 300 yards every single game. Give me one game of 300 yards and I'll move you into round one because as far as the eye test is gone, you've passed every portion of it. So
I'm sitting here going past this and they're talking.
And it's not that I don't like Mendoza. I think there's 2 players on Indiana's offense that are better. Elijah Surratt, the wide receiver, I think is their best offensive player, and I think their left tackle's better as well. And when you're the third best player on your offense, that tells me you're not a franchise quarterback, rather a product of your supporting cast. Just look at Mac Jones, for example. Mac Jones was the 4th best player on Alabama's offense. They had Devonta Smith, Najee Harris, left tackle Alex Leatherwood the year Mac Jones won the national title. So, yeah, he got picked in the first round, but he was the 4th best player on Alabama's offense that year. So that's kind of what I see with Mendoza right now.
Yeah. Jordan Rodgers sitting here got a video talking that he doesn't believe he's a top 3 pick. Well, yeah,
I don't either. I still think Nussmeier's QB1. So do you, but it's like,
yeah, and LSU is still plugging along doing their thing.
LSU's still in the playoff. If LSU was mathematically eliminated from the playoff and Nussmeier had multiple bad games, I'd be fading him too, but now is not the time to fade him. A lot of people are panicking way too early here.
Something because of the change in the format, to those 12 teams and everything else that people kind of don't.
Yep.
don't know how to handle it per se, or how the NCAA is going to handle it, and the schools and ESPN and all those good places, and I mean, but I mean, of course, your Buckeyes are still on number one, 51st first place vote. So,
yep.
What else we got, man? I mean, there's something playing here that shouldn't be. Chris.
I mean, I've been coding a lot of the site. I've been working on a lot of the working on a lot of stuff for the site for Draft Utopia with week 7 in the NFL. I've watched college football, but it's like I really don't have a lot of talking points right now, and I know this is not good, especially when you're hoping I'll save face here.
Oh man, no, I mean, just the amount of work that you do is something, man. I can't speak to that enough. You know what I mean? But I mean, this team or this season started out, pretty well, but like I said, it's kind of and wondering where things are going to go. If they're going to go to the 16 teams, or what they're going to do in the future. It's like nobody's really for sure what they have going on. I mean, our the teams that we picked early, talking about Texas Tech, and some of them, I mean, they're definitely holding their own, and I mean, let's see what else we can find on here.
Really? Tony Mario only moved the Patriots up from 21 to 18 in his power rankings. They beat the Bills, and the Bills lost to Atlanta. So the Bills are still number 6. So the Colts are now Tony's number 1 AFC team. But after that, the Bills are still number 2, even after the last 2 losses. I don't know how I feel about that, personally. I don't know. I mean, the Patriots should be higher than 18 in the power rankings, I think.
Yeah, they definitely should be. Drake May's been pulling his thing, and I mean, he's top 5 in almost every stat that there is, and I mean, he's definitely doing some things up there. And I mean, the Patriots haven't even broken out, Travion Henderson so much, and I mean, I saw something earlier. They're talking about, saying that the Patriots maybe want to trade for a back. It's like, yeah, I don't see that. They got plenty of backs up there, and I mean, it's just
with
May's taking over.
Injured, Henderson's going to be a regular in the rotation now. He's going to be a regular.
Yep. Yeah, that's for sure. Got a lot of that coming up in our fantasy league too. I mean, in my one high dollar league, I've got Travion Henderson, and now I've got Pearsall and a bunch of the guys really picking up pace. I benched Josh Allen, like I told you, and started Drake May just because of the matchup, that I saw, and it was definitely the right choice to do because I mean, Josh Allen throwing for 2 interceptions and all, I mean, the fantasy football, I mean, that stuff. It's actually kind of going crazy this year with injuries. I got into a few groups, man, and that stuff is just a little bit off, man. Some of those guys.
One thing I do have, one luxury I do have is I have Instat. That is I wish there was a thing like Instat for football, but basically with my job at Draft Prospect Hockey, Instat basically allows me to watch film on any player in the upcoming NHL draft. There's a player I'm kind of torn on. We might do a film session on him at 10 a.m. Ron, myself, you can join if you want, but like Landon Nyes is tricky because I've got a first round grade on him. I think he can be a number I think he can be the number 2 defenseman on a top line. Tankathon has him in the second round at 57, and Lines has him at 96 in the third round. Lines thinks he's going to be a third line defender. So when you have a player of that variance, and yeah, the NFL draft has players of that variance as well, William. You know from your experiences where 3 different scouts are divided on the ranking of the player, you kind of have to do your due diligence and watch the tape to find out which verdict is the correct verdict, in your opinion. That's part of scouting. It's a big part of scouting, especially when there's a player with variance right now.
Yes, sir. And, it's that came up a lot, when I was working with Daniel, and I mean, just going over on, some of the prospects, after, we'd finish our reports, did everything published, and then, start talking about what we thought of it and bouncing stuff off each other. I mean, it was actually really, getting the point of view from seeing what other scouts are seeing and why they're seeing it. I mean, that is one thing that I love about it, and such the players that are just,
yeah, and if the Jets draft a guy like Dante Moore or Mendoza to replace Justin Fields, they're still going to have the worst quarterback in the division because they're going to have a quarterback with a ceiling to develop into an above-average starter, but they're not going to have a QB with a Pro Bowl ceiling. May and Allen are still going to rule that division. Tua would be better than that rookie, even if he stuck around. I don't know if he will, but if he did, he'd be better than that rookie. So I don't know if drafting a QB is the right call when you have Fields under contract, but, Garrett Wilson's injured. And the other thing with the Jets is right now, there's a lot of players inside that locker room that believe that Justin Fields is no longer the guy and that they should give Tyrod Taylor a shot. So we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought because we kind of all know what Tyrod is, but I mean, having the skill position players that they have and having some real good players on defense, it actually could make a little bit of a difference, to put somebody in there. I mean, because he had like -10 passing yards or something net. That's just absolutely crazy, and it's like, wow, dude. I mean, the guy's got legs for days, but it's like he's got to figure something out. And I don't know if I would have signed with the Jets if I were him. I mean, that's kind of where quarterbacks go to die. And kind of like being stuck in Carolina or Washington, Cleveland. Those teams that get a new quarterback every 2 to 3 years, put more asses in the seats and sell some more jerseys, and I mean, that's an interesting, and I mean, speaking of the Browns, it was like watching, Dylan Gabriel this last weekend. It's like, dude, you guys know what he is. I mean, it's just him on tape. He's not a hard evaluation, man. I mean, the guy can be a backup. He's not a very big dude, but I mean, what's on the film is just, it's right out there in the open. There's not a whole lot of guessing with who he is, as a QB. And I mean, that's like the one thing, when just sitting there talking about Drake May, and I mean, the quarterbacks came out, Caleb Williams and and then
every
him,
QB in that draft class is a winning record right now, so I don't think any of them are in jeopardy of getting replaced.
It's actually good to see because of I mean, what was happening. I mean, obviously Daniels has regressed a little bit, but I mean, that's what second year quarterbacks do sometimes,
Yep.
I mean, just see what happens, next. But it was like May didn't start until halfway through last season.
Yeah, which I never understood. That decision by Mayo looks even more idiotic now because of the progress May has made in year 2. But
I was scared to death of that offensive line. It was like,
yeah,
dude,
but they got Will Campbell, and now the offensive line doesn't completely suck. I'm looking at the week 4 games because I am going to start uploading those to Rumble. I've got all the week 3 games. Fresno State, Hawaii, no. Arkansas, Memphis, probably not. Bowling Green, Louisville. Syracuse, Clemson, where Syracuse beat Clemson. Maybe. I'd rather get a different Clemson game if possible. Utah, Texas Tech, Utah is a definite yes because that's a game that we both want to see. That's a game we both want to get tape on. So that's a definite yes.
It was good to see Morton come back a little bit,
Yep.
throw a couple of touchdowns, and and this time the backup threw an interception, no touchdowns, and I mean, so I mean that's good to see, and I mean watching them rise because I mean we've been talking about them for a minute, we kind of both agree on that, I mean.
Yeah.
And so far we've definitely been right on that.
Texas Tech looks like the team to beat. We both had them winning the Big 12 in the preseason. A lot of people were kind of skeptical on what would happen in the Big 12. I'm guessing Auburn, Oklahoma. That's going to be the second game we get tape on. Just Michigan, Nebraska. I'm not sure what else we would get tape on, but after those 2 games, because I'm looking through the list of games from week 4, because I've got all the key matchups from week 4. South Carolina, Missouri, we'll get that game simply because Sellers came back from his injury in that game. He really didn't play a lot versus Vanderbilt. And then we'll get Florida, Miami, and Illinois, Indiana. So that'll be 6 games for week 4. I do want to get Michigan State, USC as well. So that would be 7. But who would the 8th game be? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Would Arkansas, Memphis, I guess that would be the 8th game. Arkansas, Memphis, if we can find it. Because Memphis beating an SEC team. That is kind of cool to see them beat an SEC team in front of their home crowd. But like finding an actual game film for it's not easy, but it is a necessary part of the scouting process. And yeah, I mean, Saturday is going to be decision day in MLS, and it's also going to be the officially 2 months until the 2026 Super Draft for college soccer. But NFL, I definitely prefer NFL and hockey. I think those are the strongest draft classes. So, and the thing is, a lot of college soccer players, they just get stuck in minor leagues. So even though I bust my ass scouting these players, a lot of them get stuck in MLS Next, which is the minor league version of Major League Soccer. So that's the part that irks the most. But yeah,
I was just
who's the Heisman favorite in your opinion? I would say at this point the Heisman favorite's probably either Carson Beck or Mendoza. I think Beck's going to end up winning the Heisman because what will end up happening is it'll be a 2-man race between Beck and Mendoza, but Ohio State will probably beat Indiana in the Big Ten championship, so they'll end up giving the award to Beck. That's what I think will end up happening.
Yeah, Miami, they're at number 2, so I mean that's definitely. Man, sitting here glancing at this box score of this LSU South Carolina game because I didn't watch it, man. Sellers kind of really didn't show up, did he?
Yeah,
he got chased really all over the field too.
He really didn't. Because I'm not even on week. I think last week was week 7 in college football. I've finished the first 3 weeks on Rumble. I'm going to get the week 4 games. Get some week 4 games. So, and then we can put those on Rumble or YouTube. I probably do need to post a poll question of what college football film players we want to get on the site. But I've been so busy with stuff lately.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
But I think this will be interesting to see what happens with the college football season as things progress. Because I know a lot of mocks have Mendoza and Dante Moore. I don't think either of those QBs is as high of a ceiling as Nussmeier, and they might have better floors, but you're going to end up with a Mariota or Winston type product at quarterback if you go that route, if you're the Jets. And Drake May is going to continue to dominate. Allen's going to continue to dominate. Tua could be good if he gets another year, but he might not. I don't know what's going to happen there. The Dolphins can't buy him out without taking a cap hit, but I honestly don't know what's going to happen there. I really don't.
It's, you're sitting there talking about the Heisman, and it's like there's, there were plenty of candidates, but it was like nobody was having their Heisman moment. There for a minute, Milrow almost had one, and and stuff, and then this year there's just not too many. I mean, it kind of speaks for this draft class, man. It's definitely not full of quarterbacks, that's for sure.
I've got 4 first-round grades. I've got Nussmeier in the top 5. I've got Sellers. I moved down from top 10 to round 1. I still have Mateer in round 1 because he lost to a team I expect him to lose to, and I've got Carson Beck in the top 10 now. And then I just I don't have a 5th quarterback in the first round at the moment. I have Klubnik as QB5 and Mendoza as QB6, but I have 2nd-round grades on both guys.
Step up and show something, I mean, at least try to do something. I mean.
Yeah, so here are the Heisman odds. Carson Beck is plus 300. Ty Simpson of Alabama is moving into number 2 at plus 320. Mendoza's plus 430. Marcel Reed of Texas A&M is now plus 1,600. He's now 4th best Heisman odds. Julian Sayin is plus 1,800, and Jeremiah Smith is also plus 1,800. So those guys are 5 and 6. Stockton's plus 2,500. Devin Dampier, Utah. I'm pretty certain all these players are quarterbacks. Morin, Kane's King, Dante Moore. I think Jeremiah Love at plus 5,500 is the top running back in the Heisman odds, and Jeremiah Smith's the top receiver in the Heisman. So it does sound like the QBs are the favorites now. The only players with odds under 1,000 are Mendoza, Ty Simpson, and Carson Beck.
Yeah. And that's the thing about if Carson Beck is the favorite to win the Heisman, I mean, this is a guy, I mean, where it really, when, I mean, he was playing, it took a strong supporting cast, and took others making plays for him to be, before it really started breaking down around him, and before he ended up in Miami, and not so much on our favorites list, after dropping a few rounds, and that says like a whole lot, man. I mean, I would think, I mean, Nussmeier should have a better, if he can start, throwing some touchdowns, scoring more than 17 points or, whatever.
Because what I think is going to end up happening is, I'm guessing Nussmeier is going to be underwhelming in the regular season, but he's going to get hot like Flacco in the playoffs when the Ravens won Super Bowl 50, when the Ravens won Super Bowl 47 and Flacco went on that ridiculous run. I think we are going to see something like that take place. And that's kind of what I'm expecting to happen.
I haven't got to watch a whole lot of Julian Sayin yet.
I've got 2 Ohio State games up on Rumble. I've got the opener against Texas, and I've got the opener against the game against Ohio that you requested. So I've got 2 Ohio State games up.
Cool. I'm going to have to check that out.
Because I'm already in the process of trying to figure out, all right, what 8 games from week 4 do we want to get on Rumble for our college football channel, and what, because I'm at the point where I'll have more free time to do this in January, February leading up to the draft. So, but I am making sure that we have everything, all the bases covered before we proceed. Okay, I've got the next set of film. Arkansas, Memphis. But yeah, I think after week 4, it's going to get a lot easier. There's going to be a lot less big games, but in the early portion of the season, weeks 3 and 4, there's a lot of signature games with draft prospects, high stakes implications. William, that's part, and getting all that data can be a challenge in its own right. And I know we're going to break down 25 tight ends. We've already broke down 25 quarterbacks, 15 running backs, 5 fullbacks, 40 receivers, and then we're going to have 25 tight ends on Saturday. And yeah, I mean, it's a great tight end class.
It is.
It's a very deep tight end class. I don't see a guy outside. I don't see guys who are as dominant as route running as guys like Bowers, Loveland, Warren. I don't see that in this draft, but I do see a lot of guys that can make big plays, and they're better blockers. I think this is a blocking tight end draft. The tight ends in the last few drafts, they were amazing route runners, but they weren't necessarily dominant in both pass blocking and run blocking. This draft, I feel, is a blocking tight end draft where you're going to get really good blockers in both run blocking and pass blocking, but you're not going to get a guy who is a dominant route runner. That's kind of what I see with this draft. But again, it's still very early. Ohio State, they play Wisconsin on Saturday. That's going to be a big game. Michigan State goes to Indiana.
I imagine probably have at least 3 first round grades on tight ends with Max
I've got
Clare,
2 first round grades. Max Clare is my top second round tight end, but I've got Kozoil and Stowers ahead of him. But it's one of those things where if a third team's in the market for a tight end, we could see a run at the position.
Because there's definitely been a lot of first round tight ends lately.
I agree.
2 out of the last 3 years, there's been 4 first round grades on I've had. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely, and like I said, I really want to see Claire with Julian Sane. I mean, he's a ghost, man. Underneath in the zone, it's just like unbelievable what that guy does. And I mean, he comes out of nowhere. I mentioned that one time before. I remember I was talking about him, and it was like, I had to rewind the film like a few times to see where the hell he came from. It was like, dude, I mean, he just like come out of nowhere. And I mean,
who's the most overhyped player in this draft? Well, I like Mateo Ugalele, but he went 0 for 7 against Caleb Tiernan, the Northwestern left tackle, and everybody's overlooking that because they love Ugalele, but they're not as high on Tiernan. And it's like, you went 0 for 7 against Northwestern's left tackle. You're not a first round guy in my book. And he got the only QB pressure Ugalele had against Northwestern was against the right tackle. The tape shows that. The tape validates that. And Nussmeier at 39 to the Raiders. Come on, that's criminally low. That is way too low for him. What? No tight ends in the first round? Really? 0 tight ends in the first round. Tankathon. 0. No tight ends with first round grades. And their only second round tight end is Max Clare. And they've got Aller going to the Colts at 64 as a competition for Anthony Richardson. I think I've got after the third loss in a row, I've moved Aller down to round 3. But the medicals could push Aller down to round 4 now that he suffered a season-ending injury, William. That's the other thing. The medicals with Aller could push him into the third day of the draft, like Shadur Sanders. Because he's good enough to go in the top 100 from an upside standpoint, but the medicals with his injury, that could push him into day 3. So Aller might not deserve to fall to day 3, but he might fall to the 4th round simply due to his medicals.
And that's one thing. That's one thing I always hated knocking a player for was medicals, but it was like man, you got to look at that stuff. And I mean, see some of those players like Michael Penix. I mean he had two shoulder surgeries, and they weren't listed on his medical records because they were in the off season, so he wasn't ever on the. And it was like it was really tough to find, and not a lot of people know about it. And
Yep. So
definitely.
that's the thing. I don't think Aller's going to go in the first 2 rounds. I mean, he had 2 bad games. The game against UCLA took him out of round 1, and the game against Northwestern took him out of round 2, in my
Yeah.
opinion. So even though I do like his ceiling, those 2 bad games pretty much knocked him down to round 3. And, a team's going to have to look past his medicals if they take him in round 3. If they think the medicals are a deal breaker, there's a possibility he falls to the 4th round. Because if it's the 3rd round and you got your choice between Drew Aller and Jalen Daniels, right now I'm going Jalen Daniels over Aller. Jalen Daniels, he lost to Texas Tech, but he put up a fight against the Red Raiders. So I would take him over Aller at this point. Because I don't think his medicals are as bad as Aller's.
It's going to take somebody really, really falling in love with Aller for him to go above the 3rd, man. I mean, I think that's pretty much.
I'm not going to knock Aller out of round 1 for the game against Oregon where they lost in overtime, but the games against UCLA and Northwestern, I have to move him down 2 rounds for those bad games at the bare minimum. And if you think his medicals are bad, there's a chance he drops to day 3 now. But the Browns were going to take Aller had he declared last year. So the Browns just might load up on other positions besides quarterback this year and then roll into camp next year with Gabriel Allen is a 4th round pick. Aller is a 4th round pick, and Shedeur is a 5th round pick. That might be their quarterback roster next year.
That's Cleveland doing Cleveland things, man.
I agree. That is definitely Cleveland doing Cleveland things.
Joey's ears are ringing right now. I was talking to him about Gabriel the other day. He's like, "Yeah, I'm not a big fan of him." I was like, "Yeah, I can definitely see that."
I was at the Steelers Browns game. Gabriel was awful in that game, but Pittsburgh had their defense at full health. I don't think Shedeur would have done better either, but Shedeur got crap for putting his helmet on in the 4th quarter of that game, even though the Browns didn't want to play him. The media gave him crap for that.
That still baffles me what happened with the Browns, and I mean, just it was already there, and that's what caused everything right there between Gabriel and Shedeur and Flacco, and of course the Bengals needed somebody because Jake Browning, man, he wasn't doing very well. He was playing.
Yep.
Yeah. Has Stellars put on any weight? I mean, he was like 235 pounds or something, wasn't he?
I mean, he was 225 last year. I think he may have put on some tape. Yeah, because I've got 2 full games. There's 8 games from week 4. I'm going to try to get the tape on. I've got 2 of the games ready to work on for later, but I'm not going to worry about like uploading them yet because it's just want to get the tape. Have I been watching any college soccer lately? Kick a Ball Pod. Yes, I have been watching college soccer. I've still got the Maryland UCLA game DVR'd. I haven't watched that yet. I probably do need to watch it, but yeah, I watched I've watched whatever's on television.
Sucking. I've been getting shitty football here. Like it's been bad, dude.
I agree, it's been bad.
My Niners, and I'm getting to watch Max Mac Jones and
Yeah, but the goalie draft in soccer is insane. There's like 6 first-round goalies this year, 5 in the top 20, and there's a 6th guy inside the top 30, and there's 30 soccer teams picking. So this goalie draft could be to soccer what the 1983 NFL draft was to football. Elway, Marino. 2024 also had 6 QBs go in the top 12, and all of them have looked good. McCarthy looked good against the Bears, but he's had one good quarter in 2 games. That's the thing. McCarthy's probably the odd man out, but if the Vikings have a winning record, he'll get one more year. But he'll probably have to compete with Carson Wentz in camp for the job, I would think. Rather than him
that's
getting
going to be
handed the job, he'd have
too.
to compete with Wentz, and if Wentz beats him out, they'll move on from him.
Yep.
That's probably what'll happen. But I think the other QBs, Caleb's looked like a franchise guy this year. So as when William comes back, we will get our final thoughts and wrap up the show. But I'm gonna get rid of the breaking news overlay here. The breaking news was James Franklin got fired, and we don't really need to put that up anymore. Yeah, whenever William yeah, whenever we get William back on, we'll yeah, so we'll get William back on and we'll get those so all right, so one game's done. All right. Once William comes back, we'll figure out what we want to do. All right. William, let me know when you're back on. Yeah, because I'm looking at, let me see if yeah, because I'm going to sign off unless you come back. I don't want, but yeah. William, whenever you come back, we're going to end the show. Because I feel like we've ran our course of topics for tonight. Okay, we found the game we want. All right, William's phone died, so we are wrapping up. We will be back on Saturday.